The railway transport subsector remains a critical part of the country's transport system as it complements other subsectors of road, water, and air transport. As the country continues to implement its economic growth programs under the Malawi 2063, with key targets to increase the export of agricultural commodities, both processed and unprocessed, and importation of cheaper strategic goods such as agricultural inputs and raw materials, the rail stands as a principal opportunity that should not be left untapped. With the global financial crisis continuing to push the cost of goods and services, the need to utilize the cheapest and most effective means of transport can never be overemphasized. Given that the subsector has seen a downward slope since 1999, government started bold steps to resuscitate the sector in 2010 by establishing the Department of Railways. Geoffrey Francis Magwede is Director for Railway in the Ministry of Transport and says the railway services decline was a missed opportunity for the country.
Being now the number 2 employer, by going down it meant we reduced employment in the country. Unemployment increased and we lost the opportunity of employment. Second to that, railways is supposed to complement the road transport. Because of that, we put all the burden onto the road subsector, thereby increasing the fast wear of our roads because of the heavy trucks. But at the same time, we lost the opportunity of bringing cargo at a cheaper price in masses from our neighboring borders. We're talking of Nakala as well as Beira. So we lost that, and you can see with what I've just mentioned, it means the economy was affected.
Since then, government has been leaving no stone unturned in the quest to revamp the railway system in Malawi. In 2012, Valley Logistics came into the limelight with the construction of the railway line from Moatize in the western part of Mozambique to Nakala in the eastern side to facilitate the transportation of coal through Malawi to Nakala port. This project marked a turning point in the railway sector.
And because they improved the railway section between Kaya and Nayuchi all the way to Nakala, we started seeing the quick turnaround of trains and speeds were improved because you may recall, at first we used to run at 18 tons per axle load, but it was improved to 20.5 tons per axle load on that section between Kachaso all the way to Nakala and coming all the way from Moatize. But not only that, even the speeds were improved. Now trains run at 70 kilometers an hour as operational speed. But when it comes to design, it was designed at 80 kilometers an hour. So we have seen an increase in the movement of cargo now because of speeds, and that has attracted a number of our clients who use the rail. Because I've seen now that there is speed on the line. People who used to steal from moving trains because of their slow speed, they cannot afford it at 70 kilometers an hour now. So that has created another appetite to others so that the rail use now is increasing.
Nakala Logistics Commercial and Marketing Manager Kennedy Kwerani says the company has made huge investments in the cargo train infrastructure to boost capacity for loads and speed of enhanced turnaround time. He further says they have also installed modern equipment, thereby making the cargo train carry huge loads with much ease.
We have invested in a state-of-the-art container terminal. This is the first of its kind, very big, and that's the biggest in Malawi. It's handling a lot of containers for both exports and imports. We have also been engaging our clients to invest a lot in terms of projects. For example, the fertilizer terminal that you saw in Limbu, we are part of that, providing materials to ensure that the terminal is connected to rail. We have also another terminal in Luonde. Okay, so we have machines, we have partnerships with a local supplier who has provided container lifting equipment, so that while we are working the line to Lilongwe, we should be able to provide services to Lilongwe, and we are providing them to Lilongwe and Zambia. You may be surprised that we are actually moving fertilizer for Zambia through Liwonde. So the fertilizer is coming in from Nakala port, we are bringing it in Liwonde, and then at Liwonde we are transporting it by trucks all the way to Zambia. This is on top of huge volumes of fertilizer which the railway is transporting for our own country.
One critical change in the railway subsector is the rehabilitation of the Sena corridor that links Malawi to Beira port in Mozambique through Nsanje. Currently, the Mozambican government has upgraded the section of the Motarara to Malawi's border town of Marca in Nsanje.
The intention of government is to upgrade it all the way to Bangula initially. That contract is up to Bangula, 72 kilometers, so that trains should be terminating at Bangula. That is going to give the opportunity to the truckers now to complement, as I've said, by taking the cargo from Bangula into the hinterlands of Malawi, southern region, central region, even to the north.
This is not an act of some haphazard thought, but a long calculated move, as Bangula is only 464 kilometers from the Indian Ocean port of Beira. This explains why it was critical for the government to revamp the Beira route, as it is the shortest distance that Malawi can take to the ocean as opposed to the other route currently in use.
In fact, from Beira port to enter Malawi at Marca is less than 400 kilometers. To be precise, it's 397 kilometers. You are in Malawi. So with our rail line reaching border station at Marca, the cargo is moving 398 kilometers and it's in Malawi. So the trucks that are carrying the cargo from there into Malawi, for example, the contractor, when he receives his materials, his containers, he's picking them by trucks at border station to his campsites, which are at Mbenje as well as Nyamitutu and Nyachirenda. So the train brings in a lot of cargo, a lot of cement, a lot of materials, steel, then they are loaded into trucks, which are moving those things into Malawi. So you can imagine 398 kilometers from Beira port. Nakala is very far, Dar es Salaam is very far, let alone when you talk of Durban, but the nearest port is Beira. And for your information, you will find out that most of our cargo comes through Beira port. And they are taking to reach Blantyre over 800 kilometers. But with a train, less than 600 kilometers, they are in Blantyre. What a benefit. No wonder the National Transport Master Plan recommended the route.
The resuscitation of the rail system has seen the establishment of dry ports in strategic places. This is the Limbi dry port that handles all containers that are hauled through the Limbi-Nakala corridor. For remote places like Bangula, where the decline of the rail station turned them into ghost towns, the revival of the sector will breathe new life into the places, turning them into full-blown stations for cargo handling.
Nsanje is going to be a cargo handling, there's going to be a cargo handling facility there so that when the trains come, the vehicles can take up the cargo by road. When we reach Bangula, the very last point of this phase of construction, then Bangula will have the very same facility. Now, Bangula 1, even when we take off from Bangula all the way to Limbi, Bangula 1 is going to remain as a hub because of the Shire Valley Transformation Project. That one is going to bring a lot of cargo to be transported by rail. So reaching Bangula, it can either choose to go by Beira port in Mozambique or by Nakala port.
Apart from the cargo service, the government is also determined to revamp the passenger rail service. Currently, this train runs from Limbe to Balaka and Nayuchi, where it joins the railway line to Nampula. This passenger service, according to Engineer Magwede, is the only gateway to Nampula in Mozambique, as Malawians can now board the train from Limbe to Nayuchi and then cross over to Interlagos and board a train to Nampula at Kwamba.
The patronage of the passenger train now is very high. The 13 coaches that we put, we're talking of 88 passengers per coach. The 13 coaches are most constantly loaded, full to capacity. So you can imagine those are more than 13 buses. We're talking of 17, 18 buses on one go. And if you look at the costing, the transport cost by passengers is low. And so too it applies with the general cargo. The price is low. So apart from indeed lowering the price, and then the issue of creating job employment, you need to look at the other element that is going to happen is we are going to increase the element of tourism. Traveling by train is something that is spectacular. You leave the city, you start seeing the trees, you see the rivers, you see the mountains, you see the valleys, and all that, it attracts, it changes the perspective of one's thinking. So going by train, it can be a tourist trip on its own, and by the time you come back, you are refreshed.
The passenger train is being run by Nakala Logistics, and Kennedy Kwerani is its commercial and marketing manager. He says the company has installed modern equipment on the passenger train, and currently they offer 2 services a week.
Everything about the passenger train is different now. If you had boarded the passenger train 10 years ago, probably you would be boarding a passenger train in darkness. This is because the coaches that we had there were very old. But now our passenger coaches are modern. So when the passenger train is passing, you will see that it has got electricity inside. So there's no darkness anymore. The toilets that are there are waterborne toilets, providing comfort. We have even an executive passenger coach that is attached. So if you want the comfort like you are in a coach, you are free even to board a different class. It is a requirement. Everyone has to be seated in the passenger train, and we have increased the number of coaches that are there in order to accommodate for everyone. And that is why when we saw that the demand for the passengers were increasing, we introduced a second passenger train in a week so that the people can enjoy the comfort of the passenger train. So everything about our passenger train now is modern.
This is Liwonde Station in Machinga, where we have met Daudi Chisomo. He is a small-scale business person who hails from Amini village in Traditional Authority Mlomba in Machinga district. Daudi plies his trade on the passenger train from Liwonde to Nayuchi. He says the resumption of the train has given a push to his business.
Business imene nimapanga yogulisa mazira ophika tezokazinga masweet biscuit janasi zosiyana-siyana. Ndikapita kunayo ndimakapanga business nimapanga mu steamer mpaka ndimabwerera kudzafika ku Liwonde kuno. Time steamer nasiya business nikapanga. Anzanga amene amapanga popita kunayo kugulisa business yawo kusika kunayo ankaenda movutika mtengo umene ankalipira kuchokera pa Liwonde kufika kunayo ankalipira 7,000. Steamer pamene yayamba apa tikumalipa 1,550 kwachokera Liwonde kufika nayo. Asi business yathandiza chifukwa ndi mtengo umene ulilimo wa ifa business zikutiyendera kwambiri chifukwa timalipira mtengo kuti wabwino kuti tikakafika tikagulisa malonda tikapeza profit yabwino.
On this train, we have also met Zainab Black from Banila village in Traditional Authority Mizinga in Machinga district, who came by road to Mwima to see her relatives. Realizing that the train is cheaper than road, she has decided to return to Banila by train, a calculated move in these days of shortages and escalating costs of living.
Gali moto malipira 2,000 uchoka kumbanira kufika ku Liwonde, pomwe steamer malipira 800 uchoka ku Liwonde kufika kumbanira. Steamer iyi ikuthandiza munjira yoti ndi yochipa komanso imayenda bwino kwambiri ndi kusiyanisa ndi gali moto ndi madulako. Ndiye timatha kuyenderana mosavuta ifoti steamer yo makhandira mayang'ono timatha kukwera gali uje steamer kukafika mmalo kumene tikufuna. Koma gali moto ndoti madula kwambiri. Ndi chatengwa patali kuti steamer iyi ndi yochipirako ndipo ndi bwino kwambiri.
But how does the cargo move from Nakala port to Limbe? Kennedy Kwerani explains the processes and other attendant benefits.
So if it is a container train and is coming to the container terminal, once it reaches Nayuchi, the customs, they inspect the entire train. Ideally, beforehand, they have already received the documentation in electronic form when the train is departing Nakala. So the customs officers here in Blantyre, as well as at the border, and the agents and the clients, they receive these pre-alerts. They know exactly where the train is and at what time the train is going to arrive at the border. So the operation there is 24/7. It's on demand. When the train is coming, customs officers and our teams are there to process the documentation. After that, the train passes through Rwanda, and Rwanda we have now MRI office which processes what is called the T1s document. These are transit documents to ensure that the cargo is under bond. And after that, the train proceeds to Blantyre, where it offloads in the terminal that you have seen. Once the cargo has reached the terminal, the customer now will go and process duty. In fact, for people like customs, this is a wonderful opportunity for them, because you can never evade tax on the railway, because the railway does not go to someone's house. It goes directly to the terminal, and you're only going to take your cargo here after you have cleared. And the beauty of our terminal that you have seen is that we have also provided for offices for customs, and we are in touch with them. Before end of this year, the customs will be occupying our offices so that they can facilitate everything there at the terminal.
The developments happening in the rail subsector are exciting, and the Department of Railway Transport says it is courting different government ministries and departments to leverage rail transport.
Now, with this, you will see that with Ministry of Energy, we have jumped in and they constructed the spur lines into their fuel facility in Matendi. And you just saw some last month, you saw what a train can do when it brings fuel, one load over 1.1 million liters. We could have carried more than that, but what we are saying here is we are doing that in order that we should assist the other ministries as they look forward to support from this Ministry of Transport in the rail subsector.
Huge are the investments in the rail system, but what is deplorable are the rising cases of vandalism on the equipment. This vice has the potential to run rail transport down again. According to Engineer Magwede, the country needs deliberate policies that don't only curb vandalism, but also make it mandatory that certain quotas of cargo be moved by rail so that the sector may be fully resuscitated.
The future of rail is bright. I wish to say that the rail subsector is going to take back its old glory. We are saying that we are doing the railway network from Maka to Bangula 72 kilometers. We have already started the surveys for Bangula all the way to Nkaya to Nchinji. We are like a hub where movement of cargo from the ports that are surrounding us, we are talking of Beira, be it Kilimani, be it Nakala, and be it in Twara, and be it Dar es Salaam, we want the rail subsector to be connected to it. And this is what government intends to do. And it's not only on the plan, we are on the ground.
It cannot be denied that the future of the railway system is promising. All these developments in the subsector only guarantee the country one thing, that the rail system is now coming back home to serve its Malawians better.